Welcome to drawing trusses. We're going to draw a truss as a final drawing before you do your mother of all sections. You will use this truss for your final section drawing. Let's look at the span and the pitch symbol. The pitch symbol has the X and the 12 on there. They always have the 12 at the flat part, and X is variant. So if it's 3/12, it's what's called a slow or a low pitch. 4/12 is higher, 5/12, 6/12. So the pitch gets higher. And it has to do with your climate. If you have lots of snow, you have steeper pitch roof, so you can shed the snow. And of course the rain. Climates without rain usually have a flat roof. But here in Texas, we're going to perhaps have to go higher and higher as we're getting more rain. But you're going to decide what that number is. And you're going to draw that pitch symbol. And you're going to draw the pitch symbol in what's called dimension text. It's blue. Double click. Okay, X out. And I usually use polyline. So if I choose a 4/12, I'll put my ortho on. I'll go up 4, enter, 12, enter. And I'm and 12, enter, and then I'll close it back. Okay, and let's do another polyline. Let's do a 3/12. 3, enter, 12, enter. I'll type in U for undo. 12, enter. Undo. 12, enter. There you go. That's 3/12. That's 4/12. See, the slope is changing. This is the slope. And then I'm going to do a regular line because I'm going to use that line. I'm going to do a 5/12. 5, enter. 12, enter. And you can do that. And you can do a 6/12. 6, enter. And then 12, enter. And close it. So you can see how the slope of the roof, if I copy this one down, this is the 6/12, you can see how that slope of the roof is steeper and these are slower. So you pick whatever you want, and whatever you choose, we want a symbol on there like that. So I'm going to leave it up to you to choose what type of symbol you want on your truss. So we'll leave that up there for now. And we'll begin with the span. You begin with the span. So the span is 24 feet. So the width of the house is 24 feet. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw a line from the left to the right or right to the left. But we're going to draw it in the object 2 line. It's going to be blue because it's not part of the section. The truss is behind the section cut. So it won't be white. It won't be object section. It'll be section 2. So it should be object 2 by layer by layer. There you go. So now I'm going to draw a line and make sure your foot symbol is on 24 feet. If you draw 24 inches, it won't work. So there's 24 feet. Okay, and I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't see my finished project. Let's see. And I'm going to just start it right there. All right, there you go. So now that's 24. Now, all of these webs, these are chords. There's 3 chords, the bottom and the left and the right. Those are chords. And this W symbol, these are webs. But they're all 2x4 pieces. And if you're going to span up to 40 feet and things like that, then this bottom chord will be a 2x6. And the top and the left chords will be 2x6, but still the inside will be 2x4. These are truss plates right here. This one is because very seldom do you find a piece of wood that's 24 feet long. So you get 2 pieces and you splice them together and you nail them with this truss plate. And this is how these trusses are connected. And these are 2 pieces, and you're going to have to draw that line between there, and they're bolted there. The corner is bolted. There's 2 2x4s for the top plate where the truss rests. And then this one, if this is 2 pieces of wood, it's a plate right there. And at the top, there'll be a plate. So let's draw this bottom truss, okay? And then we'll draw these 2. And then we'll draw the walls. Okay, so now they are 2x4s. So if I offset, what's a 2x4? Okay, it's 3.5 inches. So I'm going to offset 3.5. Okay, now the end of the truss is right there. Okay, and the 2x4s are right at the end there. So let's put them there. All right, so let's see. And we have 2x4s. Let's see, insert. And do we have 2x4s? Okay, so I have them in my other one. All right, so let's say we're going to, if you don't have them, you can easily draw them. Let's see. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to draw at minus 3.5, because I'm going minus direction, and then minus in the x, and minus 1.5. Comma, minus 1.5, enter. So there it is, and then there's my, I have to put my x in there, right? There's my x. To show that that's a rough sawn piece of wood, and of course, remember, on that same layer, we're going to make sure this is very gray, so that it prints very light. And we're going to copy it down because it's a double top plate at the top where the truss rests on. So it's very sturdy. And then we're going to draw the drywall line. We'll just draw a little line down because we don't know how tall our walls are. And then we'll offset. And we'll offset 5/8, enter. Don't forget to switch that back to by layer so that it will draw in the right layer, by layer, okay? And these all should be yellow because this is all drawn all in Object 2. Okay, and then of course you can draw the line over there, or you can mirror it. I'll just mirror it over. And then you'll have 7/16 of an inch sheathing. So offset 7/16, enter, for the exterior. Good, okay. All right, so that is your wall over there. And then now I've already chosen my slope. So I'm gonna copy my slope, whatever you decide, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever slope you decide that, 312, 412, and then you take that line that's hypotenuse and you draw it right on the corner of the edge there. Let's see. Three, two, one. Okay. However, this should be yellow, so let's make that yellow. All right. So you can make your symbols yellow if you want, because yellow prints in medium too. So you can draw your line up, whatever you decide, and then go over your 12, enter, and close your angle. And whatever you decide there, you copy that line and you move it at what's called the bird's beak, at the right side of that 2x4. Okay? So that's what you're going to do. I'll erase that. So now, all of the members, remember, these all are 3.5 inches. They're 2x4s. So let's just offset 2x4. So that's 3.5. And there it is. Okay? And the overhang is a foot, so we're going to offset that 12 inches. 12, enter. Okay, and then we're going to extend these lines down. This is our overhang, and then we'll trim, and you'll see what it looks like. So now we're going to trim this line over here, and we're going to trim these lines. So therefore, now we've got a nice looking truss, and of course we have to trim this line, right? And it doesn't go all the way up there snug, so I would come down about, that's fine, a midpoint there, and I would trim that off because we want some of that sheeting to be able to expand and contract. Besides, you're going to have a soffit panel here, so you won't have to worry about it. And if you want to, you can put your insulation in here, because the more insulation you put in there and the more walls, the less you have to do. Because what you're going to do in the end is you're going to mirror all of this information over here when you're done with it, okay? So do as much as you can over here, and then you don't have to draw it over there. All right, and now we're going to put the sheathing on the roof, so that's going to be offset. That's 7/16 of an inch too, 7/16. Okay, and we're going to offset that. And there's a soffit right there, and it's a 2x4, so let's just copy one of these 2x4s without drawing it again, and we'll just rotate it. So then we're going to rotate this. Okay, there you go. And we're going to move it against this piece here. But the sheathing has to go down and eclipse it just a little bit. So if you draw a line just about right there, okay, and you extend them down. So now the sheathing extends down, and don't draw a trapezoid because this is perpendicular. Make sure this is perpendicular because this is a straight piece of wood that you'll buy. They won't make it on an angle. They'll all be blocks like that. So let's see, that's good enough, long as it goes over just a little bit. All right, so there is our beginning of our truss and our sheathing, and then what you're going to do after that, you're going to draw some shingles like these, right? So you're going to go, these shingles are going to be, I'm going to just copy one over here. If you have one, you can copy of them. I can just copy one over there, or I can just show you how to draw. Now the shingle will be in sections, so if I double click here, I go back to object section, double click, X out of there, and I'm going to typically do a polyline. I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to do a little polyline, and I'm going to measure how long a shingle is, right? And then I'm going to make sure that I do a shingle correctly. So there it is. That's one. But the next one is not going to be down here on the bottom. It's going to be raised. So you can copy this one from here to here. All right. But you see this is a lot larger than that. So what you're going to do is you're going to move this one down perpendicular here, and you're going to trim it, extend, trim. That way it'll be aligned. So then you can say copy this piece from this corner to that corner to that corner, okay, and to that corner, and go all the way up. Or if you don't want to do that, you can copy all 4 of these and do more. And if you don't want to do all those, you can copy all of these and these. That's the beauty of copying. And you only have to do it like two more times. Okay, so there's your shingle. Your shingles, yes. So there's your 2x4s and your drywall and your sheathing. Now underneath the truss, you're going to have drywall and ceiling. So you're going to offset that 5/8 of an inch too. 5/8, enter. And it's a tricky one here. So now, when you go to trim, this one lays on top of there because of gravity, right? So this one's going to be trimmed here, and that's going to be trimmed there. So this drywall will sit on top of that drywall. And we'll hatch them a little bit later, and that we'll hatch the sheathing and the sheathing here to give them a little bit of a hatch so that we don't get mixed up. So now we're going to do a little gusset plate here. So let's go to let's go to the hatch layer because it's gray, hatch, boucher. There you go. And it's just a rectangle. Just draw a small rectangle that mimics these pieces here. All right, so then I'm going to copy that piece, and I'm going to eyeball about 2/3 of the way down here so that I know that I'm going to have something here, so that I know my truss can't extend that, so they're going to have two pieces, right? So MA enter, there it is. So they're going to have one piece here, a short piece, and this long piece, and they're going to splice them right there. And remember, this is going to be dashed, so let's turn that to the dash layer. Good. And that's a good looking dash. It might be too small. Now remember, LTS, we can change it. LTS, line type scale, what is it? It's 1, let's go to 2. That's much better. Okay. So I'm going to match properties, MA, enter. I'm going to match that one with that one. There you go. So now I've got two of those pieces. So now what I'm going to do is I've got to get the peak, right? So right now what I can do is I can mirror all of this ensemble right here. Of course, if I mirror half of this shingle, I'll have to do half of it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mirror this piece and this wall system and this and that other truss piece right there, okay? Because I don't want to mirror this other piece till I finish it. So now any one of these lines will be okay, except this line has now been trimmed. The only line that's still 28 is this line, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to select that. We're going to use this line as the midpoint. There you go. So be selective so that you're absolutely in the middle. There you go. So now there's my midpoint. So now I'm going to chamfer the truss pieces, just the truss pieces. This one and the one underneath and this one. And it's underneath. There it is. So remember now, I still have the sheathing line and the siding. And when I shade the sheathing, you'll see it. So let's draw a line. The sheathing doesn't go all the way to the top. It goes probably about 3 inches before there. So let's just draw a mock line here and extend the sheathing up to there. There you go. There's the sheathing. Okay. Now I'm going to trim that off. Extend, trim. But I do want this line to be perpendicular because it will be a straight piece again. So line, and I'm going to make this perpendicular because the sheathing will be cut off straight. There you go. And make sure we're back in the object section, object 2 layer. Okay, there you are. All right, so now we have our sheathing, and I'm going to shade the sheathing because I want you to know that that's a little bit different. So let's shade the sheathing. So let's go to hatch. Let's go to hatch layer, first of all. Hatch poche, there you go. So it'll be gray. And then let's go to hatch. And sometimes AutoCAD doesn't want to do something thin like this. Let's see if it does. Okay, it's trying not to do it. It's saying I have open lines down here, but I know they're closed there. So I'm going to fool AutoCAD. I'm just going to go to line. I'm going to draw a little bit of line here. I'm going to draw a V. Right there. Okay? I'll separate it. That way it'll do it. Let's see. There you go. That's one piece. And there's the other piece. And there's the other. Aha! Fooled you, AutoCAD. Alright, so now that's a little bit too dense, it'll print black. So what you want to do is you want to give it a little, is that better with that line? Let's see. Just give it a little bit of hatch. I had another hatch on there. Which one was it? It might have been this one. Yeah, I think it's that one. That one gives it a little bit more of a ghosted. Okay, that's getting too dense. So there we go. And you know what that board looks like. It's this oriented strand board. So it's kind of got all those jagged edges. Okay, that's good. And I'm going to erase my guidelines. So now I got the sheathing on top of the truss and the siding. And don't forget, when we finish this wall and get down to the floor, we're gonna hatch this sheathing with the same as that sheathing. Okay. And now what we can do is we can copy the shingles up, right? So let's go. 1 and then 2 and then, and typically if you do a house, you never have to do shingles again. And there'll be a ridge vent here. So what you'll do is you'll take your polyline, and I'll leave you with your own license, and you will draw a ridge vent. Okay, it looks something like this. Okay, and it's going to move it up there. And I'm going to move it up there about there, okay? And then I'm going to mirror this ridge vent about this here. And you can go online and look at the different ridge vents and figure out which one you want to do. So there it is. And that, oops, the ridge vent allows air to escape. And if you want to, look at your house. You have one on your house, right? If you look at the top, you'll see that little rubber ridge vent. And the air comes up in between the trusses, and it goes out to the roof. Now you have that, so now you can mirror that other piece. So mirror all of these, and all of these, and all of these, and all of these, and all of these. Okay. And don't forget this line and the hatch. There you go. That way. And then now you can snap here in the middle, and there it is. There's your hatch. Bingo. Wonderful. So now let's do the webs. So now you've got your piece over here. Okay, we forgot to catch that little last line there. So let's do that little last line. There you go. And we're still in the hatch layer, so let's go back to the object section because we got to draw the webs. All right, so let's see. We're going to go to hatch, or actually we can go here and double click. Object 2, double click. Okay. That's 2 ways to do it. And put a save on there. File, save. You don't want to lose your work after you've done all this, right? So now, if you look, it's a W. See, this is a W. It's a Howe truss. And there's a rule. No matter how big the truss is, this is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And this is 1/2 and 1/2. But it's a half from here to here, not to the overhang. So you might have to draw, since this line is going all the way down here, if you draw a line and you try to get to the midpoint, it's way down there. So you might have to draw a mock line. Let's just draw a line. Temporarily, we'll erase it later, and just go right there. So now we have a line here. So now we can get to the snap to the midpoint of that. So there you go. So now we're going to get the third and a third and a third. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So we're going to divide like we've been doing. Okay. D-I-V-I-D-E, divide. Okay. And it always tells you to select a line. So what line do you know is in 3s? So remember, this line is cut here, and it's not cut there. So if you're going to have an equal dividing line, don't forget to trim this piece off. Now you can divide that line, that top line. D-I-V-I-D-E. Enter. This line, type in 3, enter. Now you don't have to do the DDP type. Just take for granted that you know your nodes are there. And if you want to sneak up the curtain, look at this. See, there's a dot, there's a node, there's a node. Okay, let's undo that. You don't have to put those little markers on there because they're there. All you have to do is type in node. So just go to line, and you want to type in N, temporarily N-O-D-E, enter. And find, and just cruise along the line there. There it is. And you already got the midpoint there. You don't want to go to the midpoint down there. You want to go to the midpoint there. That's that short line you made. So now, don't forget, let's erase that line you you put in there. And it's a double line over there, so you just cross over there and then remove R enter, remove this line from the selection, and then it'll go away. There you go. So now you got the half and a half, and you got a third and a third. And this line is going to come down and join that. There you are. So now these webs are 3.5 inches, so you've got to offset half of 3.5 and a half of 3.5. So 3.5 is 3.5, half of 35 is 17.5. So it's offset 1.75. Enter. So one here and one here. Now don't forget, this is not going to be halfies. This goes right up in the corner. See that? These pieces go and they match right there. So you got to offset the whole 3.5 on this one. So let's go to offset 3.5. Enter. And there you go. Now let's do a little trim. Trim, let's see. Select and select. There you go. And let's extend and trim. Extend it here, this line. And let's get rid of that middle line that we don't need. Now we've got our 3.5. And let's trim it up. Trim and trim. And we're going to draw a line straight down. Left select. There you go. And that's our midpoint, right? So let's go to trim. Or you can go to chamfer. You can make these two corners. But now you got to go to trim and get this piece over there. Now, this one's a little bit too close. So I'm just going to move it down. So I'm going to move this piece down. Make sure my ortho is on, just for graphics sake, so it's clarity. And I'm going to copy that truss plate, and I'm going to just move it. All right, so move it right up here from its midpoint, right there. Right there. There you go. And then you're going to copy it. And you're going to move it up, right up there to that one right there. Now remember, this is two pieces too, so don't forget, draw your line right in the middle here. There you go. And then you're going to move this plate right up there. It's going to go across those two. So when you mirror this one, it'll be over there. And don't forget, there's another small one right up here in the corner. And you're going to rotate it. And if you want to, here's what you do. You type in list, L-I-S-T, list, enter, and you find out the angle of that line, list, enter. And that angle is delta, it's 47 degrees. All right, and you know this is 0, so you can rotate this line 47, enter, and there it is. It's parallel to that wall. There you go, and put that right in there, nice there. Okay, good. So now you see you've got that one, you've got that one, you've got that one, and then sometimes these members they're too short, so there's a piece right there. So we'll leave those off, okay? Because this is only a 24-inch truss, so. Well, we've got the overhang there, so if you want to, you can put that piece up there. But they're really not necessary. And typically, when you're doing a working drawing for residential architects, they don't demand that you do that. I had only one boss that made me do it, because the trusses will already be purchased with those on there, so you don't have to draw them. You really just have to label what truss size you have. So let's do a little review. We've got our 24 feet, and we put our double top plate, our insulation, our drywall, and our ceiling drywall, our sheathing 7/16, and our sheathing on the roof 7/16, and we did our 2x4 soffit plate, and we have our 2x4 webs. So now we're ready to mirror this. So let's go to mirror. We're going to mirror all of these pieces, parts. There you go. And this one against this midpoint right there. And there it is. There's your truss with the shingle. And we're going to have a 9-foot ceiling. So we know that, actually we're going to have an 8-foot ceiling. So we know this ceiling from our experience is 8 feet 1 1/8, right? So it's 8 feet 1-1/8, enter. And that's our bottom floor, because the drywall is 8 feet. You have to have a 1/2 inch gap at the bottom for expansion and contraction, so that's 8 feet, 0.5 inches. And then you have the 5/8 of an inch at the top. So 5/8 plus 1/2 inch plus 8 feet is 8 feet, 1 1/8. Okay? So now you can extend your walls down there. There you go. And you can copy a couple more pieces of insulation from the end point to end point. There you go. And now you got a big piece there, so now you can copy this down. You don't have to have the whole thing. And you can put a couple pieces in there. You could mirror that too. You don't have to do them both. Matter of fact, whatever you do on one side, and if you don't want to mirror it, if you don't want to do a duplicate, you just make sure you mirror it. I just forgot to do that before. So now that's our line there. Okay, so we are going to trim that off there, right? So we're going to go to trim. There you go. There you go. And you're going to trim there. And there you go. And then you're going to copy. Yeah, and when you do yours, you do them all on one side. That way you don't have to do them again. But it's not going to hurt you. Left select on the bottom corner. And you come down there and you put the bottom plate there. There you go. And of course, if you want to, you can mirror that if you want. That little piece from the mirror, from the midpoint, which is here. And you don't even have to look at it. You'll know it'll be there. There you go. And you're going to erase your guideline. So there is your truss with your ridge vent, your plates, your sheathing, your siding, your shingle, and your webs and your chords and your soffit. And you're ready to plot. So now we're going to go to the 24 by 36. Okay. And we're going to go to model space. And we're going to find our truss. There it is. And we're going to click on model, go back to paper. Let's get rid of this title block because we have it over here. Usually if there's an owner, we put the owner's name right there. But anyway, or you can put it, well actually you could leave that title block there, and if you want to say longitudinal section in the scale, but we'll have the scale over here, section title. Yeah, we won't have the scale, so you're going to put longitudinal section. Okay, and let's stretch that out. Okay, and then you're going to scale this at probably 1/4 inch. Let's see what the scale is. Let's go to model space, click on paper, and let's click here. Can we go 3 inches equal to foot? Oh no, that's too big. So let's go to 1/8. Ooh, that's too small. Let's go to 1/4. Let's go to 3/8. That's too small. Let's go to 3/4. Let's see if we can get up to 1/2. That'll be large. Let me see. Let's go to 1 inch equal to foot. Oh yeah, there it is. So now we can move it up here because you're gonna have a footing and a foundation there. So let's go back, click on model, go to paper space, click on paper, double click on here. Let's go to paper, and you can zoom in on paper, double click on there, and we're gonna say, put the scale in there that's correct. 1 inch, 1 inch space equals space 1 foot space dash space 0 inches. 1 inch equals 1 foot dash 0. That's the scale. Good. So now, and you're going to fix all this, and if you have a logo, you can put it there. And you're going to have labels. So what you want to do is click on paper and go to model. You're going to move this bad Oscars close to this part over here because you're going to have all these labels on one side. You won't duplicate labels. You can duplicate the drawing, but not the labels. All your labels will be on this side. Okay. So then we will go to print plot. And print. And we go, I have a previous, let's see. And then I have a window, and I'm going to snap to the two crosshairs. I might have to move my crosshairs because these are set up for the, yeah, this was set up for my Kentucky project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to model space. I'll show you how I do this magic. This is the only prototype like this in the world. I figured out these red crosses give you a border. If you sneak them in, however much border you want, you get them in as close as you can, maybe just without touch. Ooh, that one's okay. Let's see what that one looks like. As long as it's not touching, don't touch it. Let's go back to print plot. There we are. And I say okay, and I say previous because mine's already been done. And I snap, and I snap, and I preview. Don't say fit to paper because it will no longer be scaled. You can go center the plot. Make sure your CTP monochrome is on there. There you go. And there's your drawing. And you're going to right click, exit. You're going to call this drawing, let's cancel. That's one more thing. Let's go back to paper space. This is drawing A7. Drawing 7, I think, right? Okay. And then let's go to print one more time so you can see it again. Print. And we say okay always, and we say previous, and we have 24 by 36, and we're going to the PDF, and we're making sure this is 24 by 36 arc D. We're going to window, snap into the two crosshairs, and you can manipulate those crosshairs to get another. I can get even a closer border by that. Okay, then I can right click and plot. There you go. And where am I saving it? I'm saving it in CAD. No, where's my CAD fall? Okay, I'll just save it here since I don't know where the other one. Oh, it's in my desktop. So you make sure you save your. Make sure you know where you're saving your drawing. So I'm going to call this Truss 24 by 36. Save. There it is. Okay, now there it is. Beautiful. Okay, and then that's a 10-pointer. Okay, see you next time. Good job.